Welcome to Lashback, everyone. I'm Natalyan.
And I'm Phoebe, and today, hot topic AI versus jobs. Nat, start us off.
So there's so much information here, so I'm not going to read a quote or anything. But I think what was interesting about my research is the different opinions on jobs that it may or already have taken over and whether or not they're going to take over more jobs. And my position, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is that there's so much difference between AI and humans. One particular example is, we're very much context driven from our memories. So I think there are jobs that are at risk, but there's also, I think, we're probably going to do a full circle and very quickly realise that there's just certain things you just can't replace AI with, over humans. What's your thought, Phoebe?
Wow, it's interesting, isn't it? I've been kind of feeling like that. So if we zoom specifically into music, there are already instances of songs on Spotify that are AI created. And I read an article the other day about a band that have had millions of streams but don't seem to actually exist in real life. And I
Oh,
cannot remember the name of the artist right now, but there is an actually AI artist that is openly an AI artist. So, like, wow, where does that leave humans when it comes to artistry or having a career? My feeling there, though, is that AI artist is not going to be playing your sister's wedding.
this is it, and I think that with evolution of of many things across the world, not just AI, but technology and just anything in life, is that you somehow have to make room for different things. So I don't think that there's going to be room and there's going to be AI artists that you're not going to go to Wembley Stadium or Madison Square Gardens to see, but the other bands are going to exist alongside them. You're going to have
Yeah,
different reasoning for those things, and the fear I do have is soundtrack stuff, people that make soundtracks for drama series or something like that's probably a realistic fear.
but there's a really good example. There are some like AI tools within sound production at the moment. Like you can use an AI tool to completely split a one track guitar and vocal. And what it does is it takes the track and then it recreates it with the AI. So the voice sounds exactly like the voice that was recorded, but it's actually AI. I
Oh
have an
wow.
ethical issue there about, well, there's not a lot of legal precedent about when you're uploading things to AI, what they can then do with that information. That I personally will not put anything overtly personal into GPT. I haven't like,
Me
please
too.
make my CV. No, I didn't. I don't know. Like, no, I will not send my DNA off to so you can keep it in a fridge, just so I know I'm a quarter Irish. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean we've done another AI episode, haven't we? And we've talked about Chat GPT and other things, other platforms, and about the ethical issues there and the deception. So we do have to be conscious of that. And with anything like when social media first come out, policies and rules they don't happen overnight.
well, don't they? And the other things, I would say this. I think the post AI world is still going to need musicians and coaches. Of course, I would say that because I'm a musician and a coach. But I do really believe that, humans need humans, and there will be some circumstances. Sure, you could probably get some good guidance by putting questions into an AI, into a bot to get coaching kind of questions back and talk about your problems.
Yeah,
But sometimes you just need human. You need a human. You
you
want to
do.
go to
Well,
the
you
bar
can't.
at the end of the road and listen to live music. You want to go and actually talk to someone about your bereavement or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't replace instinct. Instinct is something that you can't even fully understand in a human. And again, context driven,
Yeah.
which I mentioned at the beginning, and human emotion and having empathy, having sympathy, that kind of stuff you can't replace. My fear of certain roles may be things such as, copywriting, graphic design. But again, I think you've just got to find your way around these developments in technology. I would much rather use a human being. Maybe I'll generate it with AI initially to show the kind of angle I'm going at, but then go to a human to really be able to discuss that.
It's a fine line, isn't it? Because in many ways, a human using AI effectively is brilliant because you've got that
Yeah.
marriage of instinct and all of the information accessible at once. Like, I don't need a lawyer. I'll ask Chat GPT, but I need a human. Like, I don't need to spend 20 hours of lawyer time because a lawyer can chat GPT it and I'll just have an hour of your instinct and experience. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
it will change economic models, I think, but also, it's when AI replaces a human. I think that's where we're in, Terminator 2 territory, Matrix territory. We should do a episode on 90s movies and the dystopia that a lot of those sorts of movies talk about when with the machines taking over. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
should I
think
keep
I think that
and things like that?
yeah, I think that we need to see AI as a tool, not as
Yeah.
a replacement. I think if you use any technology as a tool, I mean, I'm in the project management world, in business and
Yeah.
music, and I use tools, but I'm not being replaced. You can't replace me as a human being, my personality, my instinct, my emotional intelligence, but I use the tools. I think we need to see this as a tool.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And instinct and intuition, they're kind of like unsung really as more feminine sort of traits, and so a bit ruled out of business. But there is an upsurge in these intelligences, these different types of perspectives. Big piece of work about 15 years ago called Multiple Perspectives, big book. Um, you know, Intuition and instinct are really, really important in all aspects of
Well,
life.
absolutely.
Yeah. If we
You
just get
can't,
stuck
you,
on the
AI, yeah, I mean, you can program AI as much as you want, but it's not had the real life experience that human beings have had. And also, you've got to be really careful about not trusting everything that comes through on ChatGPT or any other AI platform because
also
it's not.
compassion.
Sorry?
Compassion. AI might come
Yeah,
up, like a robot and say, this is the best way to run a country and this is how you blah, blah, blah. But there'll be no compassion in that. And, it's not the best way to run a country because it goes back to a couple of episodes we talked about, people and process. AI can do process. It can speed up our research gathering, our information gathering.
yes.
It can collate things for us. It can give us the highlights. Wonderful, but it's not people. Even if they manage to get machine learning to be as good as the human brain's capability, still not necessarily going to have that compassion because we still haven't really figured out where those things like consciousness still don't know whether it's in
Yeah,
the brain or not. There's a lot
yeah.
about human experience that isn't even understood yet enough in order to then copy it in machinery.
Yeah, and I have experience in a few restaurants recently. Well, recently, I say the last couple of years in America, where they've had robots delivering the food, and you have to step out the way, which is
Yeah.
wonderful. It's fun, that kind of thing. But they still have the servers, and I think if you replace that, you're completely losing that interaction with that server, which I like to chat to the server, get to know them, have the banter, So I think that that's at risk. But I think that we are going to eventually realise that no, 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 it needs to be a tool, and there needs to be more education around this being a
Yeah.
tool, like you said,
And
gathering
also
your
on that
research.
example, that you've got, that's the customer's perspective, isn't it? I like to talk to a server when I go out for dinner. I like to have a nice time. From a business perspective, if the business got rid of all of their service in favor of robots, then that whole brand value would change in the market because they haven't got good brand. The customer would change. They'd have a very different business, very different offer to the community and to their customers. So, these things must be considered in the round, like you say. It's a tool, not a replacement.
Yeah,
Right,
because
well, we
it's
sorted that one out.
yeah, well done. We fixed it. But I think that it's a great tool again being used correctly. Like if I had an assistant, I'd love to have an assistant. then I wouldn't want to replace them with AI. But again, the mediocre, time-consuming tasks that I might not particularly like here's all my notes from all my 10 meetings that I've recorded using AI. Can you give me, can you categorize them
My
into
actions list. Yeah.
20 categories? Yeah, but that's not going to be replacing the fact that I need someone's help to, reach out to a stakeholder and really kind of understand what they're interested in, So
Yeah.
you've got to be smart with this, and you've got to see the woods for the trees, for want of a better term.
It's
So
true.
I think we'll be okay.
I think we'll be okay. I
Yeah.
think I had another example in my head there, which is why I've gone a bit vacant and it's left my brain. Tis gone.
So right. We've
So,
spent
what do you
plenty of
reckon,
time,
listeners, about AI? Are you worried about your
let us
job?
know.
Are you retraining? How do you feel? Let us know. And we will see
Let
you
us
next.
know. Take care. See you next week.
Bye.